What kind of person attacks a pregnant woman over a few purple flowers? That's the question I was screaming in my head as I watched my wife, Elena, cry out in pain, her hands clutching her 7-month pregnant belly while Cynthia Harrow's perfectly manicured nails yanked her hair, pulling her backward off a picnic bench at our neighborhood barbecue. Food flew everywhere, plates crashed to the grass, and the cheerful hum of the crowd froze. Cynthia, in her crisp white sundress and signature teal-framed glasses, stood over my wife, shouting about tacky plants, like she hadn't just assaulted a woman carrying a child. What she didn't know was that my brother, Mason, a battle-hardened Navy SEAL with 4 tours under his belt, had seen it all from across the lawn, and he was already MOVYing. I'm Daniel Torres, and this is the story of how our neighborhood's most controlling HOA president learned that you don't mess with family or a community that's had enough. 6 months ago, Elena and I moved to Willow Creek Estates in Palm Beach, Florida. After grinding through endless night shifts at the county hospital as an ER doctor, we'd saved enough to buy our dream home. The place was everything we'd hoped for: tree-lined streets, tidy lawns, great schools for the baby we were expecting. Elena, a third-grade teacher with a smile that could light up a room, threw herself into making our house ours. Born to Cuban parents who'd come to Florida when she was a kid, she poured her heart into our front garden, planting rows of VY brand salvia, those purple flowers that reminded her of her abuela's backyard in Havana. These plants, she'd tell her students, they're like stories. They tie us to who we are. That garden was her way of passing her roots to our unborn child. Then came Cynthia Harrow, the queen bee of the Willow Creek HOA. A yoga studio owner in her late 50s, Cynthia ran the neighborhood like her personal fiefdom, obsessed with what she called VY soul harmony. Her own house was a showpiece, flawless hedges, flowers swapped out seasonally, not a pebble out of place. Her sleek silver bob never wavered in the Florida heat, and those teal glasses screamed, "I'm in charge." She'd appear out of nowhere, clipboard in hand, whenever anyone dared to stray from her rulebook. 3 weeks after we moved in, a note showed up on our door. Our salvia, it said, was inconsistent with community standards, and had to go within a week. Elena, always the peacemaker, tried to reason with her. She cited Cynthia's studio, Serenity Haven, and explained why the flowers mattered, even offering to plant some roses to match the neighborhood's VYB. Cynthia just smirked. "Standards aren't negotiable, Mrs. Torres. Try some lavender. It's approved." That set off a chain of petty battles. More notes arrived, each sharper than the last. Our violation was plastered in the HOA newsletter, complete with photos. As Elena's pregnancy made gardening tougher, neighbors caught Cynthia lurking outside our house, snapping pictures, tapping notes into her tablet. Elena stayed calm, rubbing her belly and saying, "It's just flowers, Daniel. The baby's what matters." I tried to follow her lead, focusing on cribs and diapers instead of Cynthia's nonsense. We decided to keep the salvia and request an exception at the next HOA meeting, set for the day after the Willow Creek summer barbecue. My brother Mason rolled into town the day before the event, eager to hang out before his niece or nephew arrived. At 39, Mason was a wall of muscle, his buzz-cut and inked arms screaming military discipline. He'd left the SEALs 3 years ago to run a tactical training gym, but his instincts never dulled. When I vented about Cynthia, he chuckled. "HOA bullies are all talk, little bro, ignore her." That advice held up until the barbecue, when Cynthia crossed a line nobody saw coming. The day started out great. The park was buzzing, grills sizzling, kids chasing each other, tables piled with potluck dishes. Elena's guava salsa was a hit, gone in minutes. Mason bonded with some local firefighters over by the VY Lion, while Elena and I sat with her teacher friends, laughing over lemonade. Cynthia was there, of course, strutting around with her clipboard, eyeing everyone like a hawk. I'd just gone to grab more drinks when I heard Elena's voice, polite as ever. "Hi, Mrs. Harrow, the barbecue's amazing this year." Cynthia's reply was pure venom. "Your unapproved flowers aren't, Mrs. Torres. I see you still haven't fixed that eyesore." Elena stayed composed. We're addressing it at tomorrow's meeting. I've got some cultural background to share that might help. Cynthia scoffed, glancing at Elena's belly. Culture doesn't trump rules. You people always think you're above them. The jab hit like a slap. Conversations nearby died. Elena's friends froze, unsure what to do. I'm not sure what you mean by you people, Elena said, her voice steady but her cheeks flushing. My family's been in Florida for decades. I'm a teacher. Daniel's a doctor. We follow rules. I was hurrying back, but Cynthia stepped closer, her voice rising. Don't play innocent. First it's your weeds, then it's cousins in the garage, then goats in the yard. I've seen neighborhoods like this go downhill. The racism was blatant now, and Elena pushed back, calm but firm. That's offensive. We're not bringing goats anywhere. Cynthia's face twisted. Don't talk back to me. I've worked too hard to let you turn this place into Little Havana. Then it happened. Cynthia's hand shot out, grabbing Elena's long black hair and yanking hard. Elena screamed, tumbling off the bench, twisting to protect her belly as she hit the ground. Her friends gasped, too stunned to react. Cynthia stood over her, still gripping her hair, ranting about respect. I dropped the lemonade, sprinting toward them, but I was 30 yards away. Out of nowhere, Mason blazed across the lawn, MOVYing like a missile. He'd heard Elena's cry and was on her in seconds. With one smooth motion, he hooked an arm around Cynthia's waist, pulling her away from Elena and taking her to the ground in a controlled tackle. It wasn't some Hollywood slam, just a precise move to stop her without breaking her. Cynthia landed with a grunt, her glasses crooked, her bob a mess. Get off me! She shrieked, flailing. Mason's voice was ice. Ma'am, you assaulted a pregnant woman. I'm holding you until the cops get here. I reached Elena, my doctor instincts kicking in. Are you hurt? Is the baby okay? She was crying, curled around her belly. I think so. I landed on my side. He's MOVYing. One of her friends, a retired paramedic, helped me get her to a shaded bench, checking her pulse. Around us, chaos exploded. Neighbors crowded in, phones out, recording. Cynthia thrashed under Mason's hold, screaming about lawsuits and her rights. I'm the HOA president. This is assault. Mason didn't budge. Ma'am, you attacked a pregnant woman in front of witnesses. I'm a licensed security trainer making a citizen's arrest. Calm down. Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had called 911. I focused on Elena, checking for bruises or signs of distress, my heart pounding. I'm so sorry, she whispered, gripping my hand. This isn't your fault, I said, fighting to stay calm. 2 cops arrived, a burly guy named Officer Martinez and a sharp-eyed woman, Officer Hayes. Martinez took charge. What's happening here? Voices overlapped, but Mason cut through, crisp and clear. Lieutenant Mason Torres, former Navy SEAL. This woman attacked my pregnant sister-in-law, pulling her hair and causing a fall. I restrained her to prevent further harm. There's VY Deo. Hayes was already with Elena, calling for an ambulance to be safe. Martinez recognized Mason from a joint training years back, a brief moment of connection that faded as Cynthia wailed. I'm the VY Tim. He attacked me. Phones came out, and one VY Deo showed it all. Cynthia's racist rant, the hair pull, Elena's fall, Mason's tackle. Martinez's face darkened as he watched. Ma'am, you're under arrest for assault and battery. The pregnancy makes this serious. Cynthia exploded. I was upholding HOA rules. She provoked me with her ethnic plants. The crowd gasped at her audacity. Hayes shot back. HOA rules don't cover assault. As Cynthia was cuffed, still yelling about property values, paramedics checked Elena. Vitals are stable, they said, but we recommend hospital monitoring for the baby. We followed them, Mason coming along after GIVYing his statement. At the hospital, an ultrasound showed our son Gabriel Mason Torres was fine, his heartbeat strong. Elena stayed for observation, and as we sat in her room, Mason's jaw was tight. It wasn't about the flowers, Daniel. You know that. I nodded. Cynthia's hatred had just found an excuse. By morning, the neighborhood was ablaze with the story. Videos hit social media, then the local news. The HOA board ousted Cynthia, scrapped our citations, and issued an apology. Neighbors planted salvia on Cynthia's lawn in protest, a purple middle finger. She was released on bail but faced a restraining order. Her plea deal included community service and anger management, but the real punishment was social. She was a pariah. Her house went up for sale, and she vanished. The community changed fast. A new HOA rule allowed culturally significant plants. The barbecue became the Heritage Festival, with tamales and baklava side by side. Mason stayed 2 weeks, teaching self-defense classes that empowered neighbors to stand up to bullies. When Elena gave birth to Gabriel, healthy and strong, Mason held him and vowed, "Nobody's touching you, kid. Not on my watch." Our garden bloomed brighter, joined by neighbors' olive trees and hibiscus, each a story of roots reclaimed. One night, as we rocked Gabriel on our porch, Elena said, "Crazy to think Cynthia's hate brought this." I looked at our son, then the neighborhood, alive with new connections. "From her rules to our roots," I said. She lost. We won.